At about 9 p.m. on the 9th of July 2022, a mass shooting took place at a Tarven in Orlando East, Soweto, when a group of men who were heavily armed opened fire on patrons in the Tarven. A total of 23 people were shot and 16 died, and the others were seriously injured. Now, the investigation led police to Lesotho, where a war between rival music gangs have claimed scores of lives. Now, more than 100 shells were found at the scene of a crime that shocked the nation.
The Soweto Tarven massacre sent shockwaves around the country. Police Minister Bekicele said 137 rounds of cartridges were found at the crime scene. Lubabalo Mtambo, who pretended to be dead, recounts the shooting spree.
Uyazi mfowethu indlela ababedula ngayo laba bantu laba ngangiqala ukuyizwa isound echo kanje esibhamini ekhala ithi gugugugugugugugugugu ichange sound ithi ga 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 iphinde ichange futhi ithi gugugugugu and mfowethu ngendlela yayicho ngayo ngayizwa kahle ukuthi yazi lapha yana la idubula khona lo muntu is like uyaba grinder labantu benza lento ekuthiwa imix meat ngangendlela wayenza ngakhona mfowethu yabo because the meantime sisicho lesi spam lesi everything man is shaking yabona and uyabona ukuthi lo muntu lona kwaphela icassette wabuye wafaka elinye.
During a bail application, one of the accused, a former Hawks branch commander, told the court the victims of the massacre were in the wrong place at the wrong time. The former police officer claimed the murders were caused by clashes between two Basotho rival groups, namely Drenia Khosi Chakela and Drenia Khosi Mugata. Chakela was formed in 2019 by members who left Mugata. Now, police identified one of the main suspects and the leader in the shooting as Lehlanya Sello. You see, Sello is reported to be a leader of Tereni, a Lesotho gang rooted in Famo music, a local form of popular music that has been tied to a wave of violence. Now, rivalry between stars of this accordion-based style of music has sparked years of deadly gang warfare that has turned Lesotho into the murder capital of the continent in 2020. So, in 2004, after one former musician allegedly shot another, a cycle of revenge developed, fueled by poisonous lyrics in songs, and over the last 2 decades, scores of Famo artists and hundreds of other people connected to the music, from producers, fans, DJs, musicians, family members, have been gunned down. It was reported that these Famo groups are so dangerous that when they go to someone's house looking for them and they're not there, they might kill their wife or their kids or eliminate the whole family. It's said that in Lesotho, villages have been turned into orphanages because of Famo music. You see, the Famo artists and their fans, both in South Africa and Lesotho, are divided because of the beef. Now, distinguished by wearing traditional blankets in a particular color. Yellow is the color of the Reni, one of the largest groups, and blue and black is the mark of the other, Seake.
Famo music is a genre specific to Basotho people. It's born from a music instrument called setolotolo, but with Europeans coming to South Africa and opening mining companies, they came with accordions and concertinas as well. That attracted young Basotho artists, and they started using that as part of their music.
Now, in Lesotho, one victim of revenge attack was Famo artist Salope Mushabudi, who was gunned down at his isolated home in the mountainous district of Matelile in 2010. In his song, he had taunted the killers of another musician who was his cousin, calling them little boys. Now, because of those lyrics, the killers came for him too. You see, radio stations accused of favoring one group over the other by giving them more airtime began getting death threats, and one thing about these guys, they live up to their threats. In 2006, a musician with a cult-like following, Chakela, won an award in the South African Traditional Music Award for Best Musician in the Famo Music category. You see, that situation increased his popularity in the pharmaceuticals, but some people were not happy about the award. Because of jealousy and the rivalry that added into the violence that was happening at the time. Now Chakela was the leader of the Tereni group. You see, apart from his singing talent, Chakela was a successful businessman in Lesotho and in South Africa as well. Now, among others, he owned a total of 13 liquor stores, 7 of which were located in Maseru. In politics, Chakela was aligned with the ruling All Basotho Convention Party and was also a strong ally with the former Prime Minister Motsoagai Thabane. You see, some say Chakela was a musician and a gangster, and he had been due to appear before the Lesotho's High Court in March 2021 as a co-defendant in the trial of former Prime Minister Thomas Thabane. You see, Thabane and his second wife were charged with ordering a hit on his estranged first wife, who had refused to divorce him. So Thabane reportedly asked a group of former musicians and their followers, including Chakela, to carry out a contract. Now the charges were dropped as prosecutors could no longer locate a key witness in the case. Now Chakela and Sello Lehlanya, who is a key suspect in the Soweto shooting, were part of the Tereni group that was sent by the former Prime Minister. Now Chakela died in 2021 because of COVID-19 complications, and then Lehlanya is said to have taken over as the group's leader, allegedly. Now with all this violence happening, former musicians are no longer making a lot of money like they used to before the violence. They can't do shows anymore or concerts, and sponsors can't even touch them. You see, their main hustle now is illegal mining. Now this is where the story connects to the Tarven shooting in Soweto. Now since the 1940s, the Basotho nationals have been closely linked to the mining industry in South Africa. Now in 1963, there was an Alien Act that was introduced, and it prohibited the Basotho nationals from working in other industries in South Africa, besides the agriculture and the mining industry. Now that legislation intensified the presence of the Basotho nationals in the mines. Now ever since that bill was passed in 1933, the mining sector has been marked as a stronghold of the Basotho nationals. When most gold mines closed down between the early and the mid-2000s, that's when most illegal miners started using their skills in the illegal mining sector. But now, illegal mining in South Africa is said to cost the economy around $300 million every year. Now this is big business, and former musicians and their following form a big part of the Zamazama groups who are running the illegal mining operations. Now the beef between the gangs eventually escalated to the mining business. You see, these guys are the gold mafia's foot soldiers doing the heavy lifting in the mining industry. Now the murders are not just over the accordion music anymore, it's also a battle for control of the lucrative illegal gold mines in South Africa. Now the presence of the Zamazamas has increased over the years, and most of the illegal mine workers are unemployed South Africans and neighboring countries such as Lesotho nationals, and also Zimbabweans and Mozambicans. Now with these groups coming together to work on the gold mines, their interactions is met with conflict, violence and killings. That's why the gangs are there, to be the enforcers and the security for the Zamazamas. But over time, the Tereni group, for some reasons unknown, they also had internal beef and they were divided. You see, this beef started in the mines and it spilled over to communities in Soweto and also back at home in Lesotho. Now the gang is involved in politics, not only for money but also for immunity from getting prosecuted for the crimes they've committed in the past. You see, this movement, it started as a music thing and then it developed into an illegal gold mining business, and then now they're making their way into politics. They are moving up the food chain, I'm telling you. Now, according to gang members, the Soweto Tarven shooting happened because of the infighting between the Tereni members. It is alleged that Sello Lehlanya, leader of the Tereni gang, was the mastermind behind the attack. They said to have been looking for their enemies who lived in Soweto and usually frequent in that specific tavern. The reason they shot everyone in the shebeen, including innocent bystanders, is because Lihlanya didn't properly know all of his enemies who were in the tavern at the time. So he shot everybody to make sure that he eliminates them, and also to send a message to other rivals who want to challenge him to know that he is a ruthless person. Now, this incident sent shockwaves around the country, and eventually 5 suspects were arrested, but not the mastermind Lihlanya.
Also back in Johannesburg, the police are still investigating the Soweto tavern shooting. Duma says it was Lihlanya himself who ordered the massacre.
One o re mo tsebang ka ona ke ha o tla ba le ditlhaselo ka mona ka Soweto mo no thunya batho thaveneng re na le batho ba rona ba phelang ka mo ho no thunywa bona mme ba thunyeletswa le community ka ofela jwa le mo.
The high death toll, Duma said, was due to an extreme act of callousness. The gunmen didn't know the exact identity of Duma's man, so they sprayed the whole tavern with bullets.
Hobane ke a gola batho bano ha ke re ha ba traina dithunya mme ba ka se kgone go ba ga ba thunya batho ba ba batlang ka ga ba bang ho tshore ba thunyeletsa ka ofela.
Now, Duma says, Lihlanya is coming for the witnesses to the shooting. He shows us photos of a bullet-riddled corpse, murdered just days ago.
Ke setho sa go jwale ba mo bola jwalo ba ga ba pata bopaki.
You see, the Zamazama gangs, or the illegal mining syndicates, are one of the biggest gangs in South Africa, and they are making a lot of money, as it has been seen on the news and also on TikTok videos where these guys are showcasing buckets full of money. See, but these guys are not doing this by themselves. They are real kingpins who are connected to governments and gold mining and laundering syndicates around the world who are sponsoring these operations.
Ride for my dogs, lie for my dogs, die for my dogs. Ride for my dogs, lie for my dogs, die for my dogs. Because it's